Welcome. This is episode 2, actually,
2 or 3.
2 or 3. If you want to do the first two as 1.2 and 1.1, this is episode 2. If not, this is episode 3 of Puck Yourself. Um, we have a lot to talk about today. This is week 2 of the NHL. There's been a lot that's we've taken in over the last 7 days. Some good, some bad, some downright outrageous. And we're gonna talk some Leafs here.
Before we get into that, just want to touch on Calgary and Columbus's tributes to Johnny Gaudreau.
Really nice.
They were really well done. I didn't really see much of the Calgary one. I didn't watch either live.
Yeah.
But the Columbus one, I saw some clips, and it was really well done.
The 13 seconds.
The 13
starting
without
without
the left winger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
That was
And
classy.
then obviously Monahan scoring. The entire reason not the entire reason, but a big reason why he came to Columbus was to play with Gaudreau. They're best friends. And he scores and he points up to the stands to his family. So that was pretty cool.
That was really cool. To jump back, we're working on getting you guys a video. This is a work in progress. We're just a couple of small town boys. But expect that in the coming future. Expect that in the near future. We're learning the editing. We're learning the audio. We have microphones now.
Next couple of weeks, we'll get her going here.
It's a lot to quote a Drew phrase. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Figure it out. So thoughts. Talking about Pittsburgh.
We're going to the games. Okay.
We'll go to the games.
All right.
Unless you want to touch on anything to begin.
No, we'll start with the games.
Okay. Pittsburgh, LA.
So Pittsburgh and LA. So Pittsburgh. One thing I did want to. So the lines were a little different the past couple of games from the first couple of games. I believe was Tavares out Saturday night?
Yeah, it was
Saturday
like
night.
an illness or something.
Yeah. So Domi took over for the second line.
I'm a Domi guy. So I like Domi.
So you know my feelings on Domi. What I will say is I do like him at center.
Yes.
A lot better than I do at wing.
The guy's a face-off monster.
He is a lot better at center. Mostly because he's not a forechecking guy.
No, he's not.
He's a puck possession guy. Do I think he's terrific? No. I have my issues. I brought them up last week on here. Jack knows my issues with Domi, especially in the playoffs last year. A lot of dumb penalties. Domi is bringing us back to the Kadri days, stupid shit in the playoffs.
And I love you, Nas.
We still love Nas. Don't worry, Nas.
But I agree. Stupid penalties. What I like about him, he is a face-off monster, and he skates hard. And I feel like under Berube, the booby, he skates hard. He fits in with the culture that they seem to be forming.
Yes and no.
He's a little undersized. I
agree with that.
Well, tell me about it.
You know my feelings. I think he's a fake tough guy. I think he
gets in the dirty.
Whistle, but I can be fair. I thought he played well the last couple of games. So Pittsburgh and LA. Pittsburgh especially. I thought he was really good against Pittsburgh.
He's got how many assists this year?
I don't know off the top of my head.
He's up to 7 assists. He got 3.
You know, when you're playing on a line with Bobby McMatthews, that helps too.
That's not bad.
That second line, because Tavares came back against LA and he stayed on the third line. So the second line stayed intact: McMahon, Domi, and Nylander. And honestly, I don't hate it.
So let's do a quick one. So Domi's up to 5 assists and he's a +6.
That's solid.
That's not bad.
Well done.
Overall feelings on the Pittsburgh game.
Before we leave on Domi, like I said, I like him a lot better at center. Yeah. But I don't know if I trust him at center in the playoffs.
I don't think he has enough goal scoring potential to justify taking line 2 center away from Nylander.
Well, Tavares has been line 2 center.
But he's bumped down. And I think he
Yeah,
should be bumped down.
he's down. He's down line 3. You have to ignore the money at this point to
Yeah.
Mars' career, and just
It's
said, "This is your role. This is what you're going to be." Because
yeah.
next year, if he does in fact stay, it will be for less money.
And
And
I think
I
he
would
wants to
imagine
he
if
said he wants to stay.
I would imagine to be the third line center role.
Yeah.
That's my assumption, right? So they're going to get a ton of power play time. He's still in key situations.
Offers some good depth.
Good. He's very good on draws, right? But is Domi the future? Is Nylander the future at center? It doesn't really seem like it either for either of those guys. Obviously, the Nylander experiment didn't last long again.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this season,
And he was frustrated under previous
yeah.
coaching.
I listen. I think Nylander could play center, but I think we're so far into his career at this point. It's kind of like you have to change a lot.
Yeah.
I think he sticks to the wing. He can drive his own line. Matthews drives the first line. Nylander drives the second line.
Because every once in a while you get one of these Nylander bursts and he breaks out down the wing and suddenly he scores a goal
Yeah,
from a wrist shot.
he wants to cheat. He cheats a lot.
Yep.
He can't do that center.
No.
That's the way it is. It fits Domi's game a little better. He wants to be on the puck a little more.
He's an in-your-face guy.
He wants to be. He's not. Domi doesn't forecheck well for me. He wants to be in possession of the puck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's his game. He's a lot like Marner, honestly.
And you have to be a goal
Not
scorer.
the talent level, but he's a lot like Marner.
If you're going to be a center, you need to be scoring goals. Yeah, sure you can dish it, but you have to have the level to where if there's no passes to feed off to,
Yeah,
you have to be able to finish.
I think it's just top six role. I don't think it matters what if you're a winger or a center. You need to be able to put the puck in the net at some point.
And
At least
he
a little
hasn't
bit.
proven it.
At least a little bit.
Talk about last year. He was assists. He didn't have many goals. He's not a goal
No,
scorer.
no.
Regardless of the line, you would expect, even if you're on the third line, you expect more output than he had last
Yeah,
year.
100%. And obviously that's a lot of growing pains.
Yeah.
He was a new team. This year's a new system. We'll see. Um, Maybe we try and get back on topic a little bit. We're gonna get off the rails like always. The Pittsburgh game, I thought was a lot better than the first two games.
Yeah.
Obviously the New Jersey game, but there were still things in the New Jersey game. Pittsburgh game was a lot better for me. Stolars looks great. I have zero issues in goal.
I said it. I think Stoley is a good goalie.
And I think that the good thing about that is because you've discovered this, and Hildeby played well against New Jersey as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to rush Wall back.
No.
Wall can take his time, make sure he's healthy, get him back in, ease him back in. Stolars can eat some starts. And then once Wall's ready to go, we split some starts and we go from there.
You make decisions as new information comes out.
Yeah. We touched on the whole line, this whole second line as a whole. Bobby McMahon is a chief player.
Wow.
If there ever was one. I want to know how the fuck it took this guy so long to get into the league. Like, how did he not get a fourth line role?
How old is he?
I think when he first came through, so last year was his first kind of, not really full year, but he played a lot last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the previous year, I think would have been his first stint, like consecutive game stint in the NHL. I'm not sure if he had a couple games here and there before that. He was like 26, 27.
The guy can score.
He's almost 30.
The guy can score.
He puts the puck in the net. He bangs. He can move for a big boy.
Big guy.
He can move. He's a chief player. He's gonna get big minutes.
And if he keeps putting up numbers like he is,
he had a good year last year
and
too.
We'll get to the next
We missed
game.
him in the playoffs.
But my gosh, has he made an impact in the first couple games here?
Yeah, him sitting out for Reeves in the first game was an interesting decision in hindsight.
Don't love that. Don't love it.
I would like to touch more a little bit on the LA game. I thought it was a little more telling than the Pittsburgh game.
And I think a little bit more struggles.
Yeah, so I kind of was here and there for the first and a little bit of the beginning of the second, so I didn't catch the entirety of it. I kind of saw a little bit glimpses. Obviously, they scored a shit ton in the first. Yeah, and it kind of came out to a big lead. But after the first, it didn't look terrific. The second was okay. The first 10 minutes of the third was really bad, really bad.
The thing that stood out to me was the power play.
Yep. And
That was tough.
That's one of our talking points. We're gonna touch on that. But the Chiefs stuff on the bench after they let the second goal in.
We're not going to take that anymore, guys. We're not going to
We love
take
that. We love that.
the and there's clips coming out. We're recording this on the Friday. There's clips coming out of the next day practice, or not the next day, but the was it Friday practice or the Thursday practice, whatever it was, of stay focused.
This isn't good enough.
There is no off days.
Yep.
There is no we're gonna phone it in. We're gonna coast. You know, oh boy, oh they're making the comeback. That era's done. We're not doing it any fucking more.
The Maple Leafs, just franchise, not just this team.
No,
the franchise as a whole historically does this.
You can
in games where they play well, they get a big lead, and they sit back in the third period. Why are we sitting back? It's 5-0. What are you sitting back for?
Gas. Keep it going.
Pump them out of the building here. It's LA. You're not going to see them again.
Get Matthews to
until
150.
Whatever, one more game. Nice to see Matthews get on the board a little bit. We are going to touch a little bit on that as well.
I always believed in you, King.
The chances were there. The chances were there in all those games.
He got unlucky a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else for the games.
I like the new power play. I like the 1-1-2. I think they're doing well there. I think defensively they're a lot more sound with the pickups they've made.
Yeah.
The only other point I'd make is the move of OEL to PP1.
Okay, so this is a big topic for me. I'm not sure everyone will agree, but so the power play has struggled out of the gate here.
Yeah.
Just like it did in the playoffs last year.
Yep.
And the personnel change isn't really much.
Not on PP1.
So OEL's played PP1 the past couple of games over Riley.
Yep. And I love you, Riley.
Listen, Morgan Riley has done a lot. Has been through the hard times with the Leafs.
Okay? Longest tenured Leaf on the team.
The longest tenured Leaf. He was one of the better players on the team when they struggled.
Yep.
But he is a big money player now, and since he's started making that big money,
yep,
he hasn't delivered. Now, Tanev and OEL have taken a lot off his plate so far this year, which is good.
Way to take him off of the burner.
Which is good.
Let other players rise to the occasion.
Exactly.
And let Riley be Riley.
Now, Riley's going to be PP2 for the time being. I think Nylander scored in the power play against LA. I think they got one.
Yeah.
But that's still only one goal in the power play.
When you have some of the top offensive talent in the league.
So do we think we stick with the loaded PP1? So I got two questions.
Yeah.
Stick with loaded PP1. What do you think?
I liked how much OEL was shooting.
But I just mean in terms of Tavares, Nylander, Marner, Matthews. Do we keep them together or do we split them up?
Well, to determine the right answers, who else would you put in there? I think the drop,
the power play, PP1 and PP2, you mix it up.
But who would you put on PP1? I think the obvious drop is Tavares.
Tavares would probably be the one.
He'd be the guy to be like, okay, give him 2.
I think Nyes easily plays the Tavares role on PP1.
Put him in front of the net. He's a big guy.
I think
he's muscly.
It's
great head of hair.
I think Berube loves Nyes. And Nyes is a Berube guy. Just like Bobby McMahon's a Berube guy, Nyes is a Berube guy. Okay. And Nyes is killing penalties this year.
Yep.
He got on PP1 when Tavares was out. He's going to get an even bigger role. He's already in the first line with Matthews and Marner.
Yeah.
But even bigger role. I think he's big on him. And come playoff time, that's when Nyes is going to come out. That's when we need Nyes the most.
So, if that's the commitment, then put him on PP1. Get him more exposure to that.
That's my thing, right? Tavares, whether Tavares stays or not next year, he's still on the back half here.
Yeah.
And we need to be ready for the very near future where Tavares is not going to be here.
And what this should all be building to is playoff hockey.
Exactly.
The regular season, we have no problem with the regular season. We haven't had problems with the regular season in a little bit. It is the playoff hockey. And if you're going to compete with some of these teams, your power play needs to be up to snuff. There's no other way to put it. I think Nyes is a phenomenal hockey player. I think he has a lot of growing to do, but you can see how a guy of his size, who handles the puck well, who has the speed, and is willing to work hard, give him some shots at PP1.
The only
I have no issue with
the
that.
only issue I have with Nyes' game is just point production. For a guy that's so
Yeah.
young, he has everything else down.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's going to take time. Now you're going to get plenty of opportunities being on the line that he's on, especially when you have a guy like Martin who loves to dish the puck. My God, I could infuriate myself with him going in. I don't know if I think it was the LA game where he had the opportunity to pass and he coasted into the goal instead of taking the shot. Regardless,
Marner Domi typical.
Regardless, I think, you give Knies a shot. The production will come as he's maturing as a player. He's only had, how many games did he play last year?
He played the majority of the year last year.
So he's had 1 year to really go because he came into the playoffs 2 years ago, and that's where everyone was like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, he didn't play much, but he played.
Made some ripples.
Yep.
Give him some more time to mature. I think he's a goal scorer. I think he's got a lot of figuring out to do.
He's going to be a power forward, and he's going to be a good one.
And he's got the size.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, does he have the size?
So, are you saying if you were to break this up, but you would only take Tavares out?
You take Tavares out.
You would keep Nylander, Marner, and Matthews with Nyes.
You got too much. You have too much of a threat. You have a guy in Nylander. Nylander can score goals. Nylander has proven he can score goals, and he doesn't need anyone else to score goals.
So I just don't think. I think in this sense, you're kind of just Nyes and Tavares are kind of like for like, and I don't think you're breaking it up. I think you've still stacked the power play in that sense.
I think you've still stacked it, and I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say Nyes is Tavares. Like I don't think they
just
play
mean the
this.
role.
Yeah,
the role that they're going to play.
Just put him on.
Yeah,
just put him on. Get him experience to that. Get him experience to experience because their penalty kill is going to be their PK1. Get him exposed to PK1 level players. Give him that exposure because you're going to need that depth and that experience in a young guy like him come playoff time.
Exactly.
God forbid injuries.
Yep. The other question with the power play, you touched on OEL taking over PP1.
Yeah.
So do you agree with that?
I do. I think he takes more chances. I think he's forcing the team, and particularly forcing the power play to just take more chances. How infuriating is it when you see a Leafs power play and they're passing around the puck for a minute fucking 20 and there's been no shots on net? Take some fucking chances. Who cares if it's a garbage goal? Go ahead, put the puck on net, make the goalie make a save, get a rebound, and put it fucking behind him. I cannot stand we're going to get too cute with it. I understand high opportunity chances, high scoring areas. I get it. But you need to shoot the fucking puck. And he has proven he's committed. He doesn't care about being too cute with it. Take some chances, and I really liked seeing that. And again, Morgan, I really like you. Don't get me wrong. We haven't been seeing that from the power play with Morgan Riley on PP1 as the D-man.
So I agree with it, and I'll tell you why. We touched on Riley last episode.
Yep.
Well, first of all, OEL took over from Montour PP1 in the Cup final.
Great point.
Now, remember back in the day in hockey when you were on a power play and there was no diamond formation with a bumper. It was 3 forwards, 2 defensemen. One defenseman would pass the puck and the other defenseman would fucking hammer it.
Little one-timer.
I.e. the Thomas Cabriolet, Brian McCabe days.
Oh, had a photo of Brian McCabe in my bedroom growing up as a kid. Cabriolet, you were great too.
Now, here's my point.
Okay.
With Riley on that power play.
Yeah.
So it's not that I have an issue with one defenseman. It's the way the game is gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it should be. 4 forwards and a D. That's the way it is.
I think it makes sense.
That's the way you go. Matthews can shoot the puck. Nylander can shoot the puck. Tavares is your net front guy. Here's what I have an issue with. is that with Riley and Marner on this power play, if that's going to be your PP1, you have two guys at the top end of the play who are usually near the blue line who are not a threat to score a goal. Neither one of them, when those guys have the puck, you know there's a 99% chance they are not shooting the puck. They're looking to pass the puck.
When Riley scored against LA, it wasn't a power play. No. It's because he was forechecking.
Yeah, exactly.
He was in front of the fucking
Riley's game isn't power play.
No, it's
not.
on
the rush.
And it shows.
Yeah. OEL can fucking hammer.
Boom. How many posts did he have against Pittsburgh?
So now with OEL on his power play,
you've got some offense.
You have a threat, another threat.
You have a threat.
You're gonna free up a little bit of room for Matthews because everybody knows what Matthews wants to do. He wants to line up the 1T.
He wants to go to the hash
top
mark
of the center circle on the top of the face-off circle, i.e., OV.
And now you have options.
Now maybe people aren't going to key on Matthews, so they're still going to key on Matthews. Obviously,
they need to go for the block
but
shot.
They can't just leave OEL there because he can handle the puck too. You can't just leave Nylander because he can shoot the puck too, right?
You've got threats. Multiple.
Marner is the only guy in this situation, whether it is Nyes or Tavares net front, that's irrelevant. Marner would be the only guy that is not really a goal threat.
He's doing some crossovers, skating with the puck.
That's why I like it. I think you need to be patient, give him a little time. They got one on Wednesday.
And you do
see what happens for me.
Now you're on the power play, and to give some credit and to give some options to Marner because you know he wants to feed it. You've now got multiple options. It's not, oh, okay, Marner's got the puck. Where's Matthews?
Yeah,
he's got three guys that he can dish it to
that are a threat to score.
That are a threat to score.
So the other thing I want to touch on, we'll kind of make it. So the other point. So we're gonna combine the points. So it's basically style of play under Berube, and I want to touch a little bit on Matthews under Berube. But let's just start with Berube style of play.
Okay.
First of all, we touched on it a little bit in the first episode / 2 episodes, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
I don't think we need to rehash what the style of play is. I think everybody that is watching
bang him up.
It's more north south, west east west. He's not taking the he's still letting the big guns play a little bit.
Yep.
But you want to win the playoffs is what you got to do. And what I wanted to say was I can't believe how quick they've adapted. I thought it would take most of the season.
They look okay out there.
They thought it would take most
of
the
season. The first game was like, it felt a little like, okay, they look a little uncomfortable. By Pittsburgh, it was like they're putting it together.
Even New Jersey. I mean, the New Jersey and LA games, they come out of the gates.
Yeah.
You didn't see that before.
Yeah.
They never did that before.
And holding it. It's particularly the responding to the guys go back to work.
And you're being held accountable.
When they scored that second goal and they took the timeout and they said, get composed, figure out what we are, it was phenomenal. And you haven't seen that adaptability and that bounce backness under Keith. Well, it's my word.
Okay, whatever you say. Yeah, you've seen it. Like Keith would give him shit on the bench sometimes.
Yeah,
but it wasn't the same.
It's
just something about Chief.
It's one thing to get animated and to protest penalties and to try and fire guys up. The person delivering that message matters just as much as the message being delivered. Yep. And you see the way Berube delivers that message. Yep. They're responding to it.
Exactly. I thought it would take a long time.
And it is you're either going to be a part of this or you're not.
There's going to be growing pains.
Yep. And not everyone will adapt, but so far it seems like they are.
I mean, Pacioretty got the healthy scratch already.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're taking no prisoners here. Not that he's top end of the lineup.
We know your name. We know your history.
Doesn't
Pacioretty. You've shown up in the preseason. You showed up in game 1, was it?
He got one I think he got one in game 2, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, New Jersey.
But we're here to produce every day, and that's disciplined hockey too.
So, yeah, that's kind of just all I wanted to say on that. Was just
I like the culture
I can't
shock.
believe how quick it's been.
I like it.
I did forget to put this in my notes. Tanev, we're talking about Chiefs players.
Oh.
Tanev is I know we talked about him a little bit last week. The defensive play, we've talked about freeing up Riley with Tanev playing on Riley's pair and then OEL taking power play minutes.
Yeah.
The big thing with Tanev, he's obviously physical. He blocks shots. He's great defensively.
Defensively sound.
You know the surprising thing that I never really noticed about Tanev, and I watched him a lot last year in Dallas in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He is surprisingly very good on the breakout.
Really?
That's what I've noticed. I've kind of caught glimpses. He keeps it very simple, but he does not give the puck away. It's very Calgary Flame, early Toronto Maple Leaf days of TJ Brody.
Don't bring up TJ Brody.
I've
had my heart broken by TJ Brody.
TJ Brody, when he was in Calgary and the first couple of years in Toronto, was just very sound with the puck. And that's what I see with Tanev. He keeps it simple, but he's very good in the breakout. I didn't expect that. I expected exactly what we're getting defensively.
Yeah. I haven't taken it in, but I trust your analysis.
Thank you.
This time?
Just this time?
It's a situation by situation with him, okay? I'll put it that way. But I agree. They've looked really sound defensively. There haven't been any like stupid puck give ups. There haven't been any cross ice passes when someone's forechecking and suddenly gets picked off and you got Stolars looking to throw a leg out.
Even the breakout just in general has seemed to be a lot better. They struggle every year in the playoffs. They struggle to break out of their own end. Struggle. I know it's not the playoffs yet.
The drop passes at the red line.
Listen,
how many drop passes can we fucking do?
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on Matthews.
Okay.
Under Berube, I don't think 70 goals.
It doesn't seem realistic.
Is going to happen.
It doesn't seem it.
Maybe 60.
If he can get
Matthews is going to consistently be a 50 goal scorer. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Because I think Matthews is starting to come to realization. I think he's kind of realized it the past couple of years, but it's just the scheme wasn't different yet. It was still the same old. So that's just kind of how they had to play.
The Keefe systems.
Yes. Under Berube. Now.
Is it Berube or Berube?
It's Berube, but Chief. It's Chief. That's what it is.
We're going with Chief.
It's Chief. Obviously Matthews has improved immensely defensively since he's come into the league. He's got a lot better. He's one of the better defensive forwards in the NHL. But I see a whole new level to that, and it's still very early days. It's only
you're seeing it already,
but I'm seeing it already. It's to another level, and I heard somewhere. I'm not sure where I heard this. They were talking about the Selke voting last year, and Barkov is kind of the Selke seems to be there's one guy, and that guy wins it a ton. All the time.
The undisputed champ.
This is so Barkov is kind of this era. Previously it was Bergeron. Previously it was Datsuk. Guys like that.
Oh, Datsuk.
Where it's just kind of guys are always they win this trophy pretty much every season consistently. Barkov's kind of that guy right now.
Because they're that player.
But if you look at Matthews' defensive numbers compared to Barkov's last year, they are either all very on par or better than Barkov's.
And that's saying something.
And that is the premier defensive forward.
You want to talk guys?
That guy shut down McDavid in the Stanley Cup final.
Guys who rose to the occasion last year to win that cup. Barkov's leading that fucking charge.
Yeah, exactly.
Dragging the team to victory.
So Matthews, that's what I'm seeing. Yeah. Matthews is that level defensively.
Lead by example.
And the captaincy and you can see things are changing.
Embrace it.
You
You got
can see
one
things are
C.
changing.
1C, and you want a guy who is going to take the team and say, regardless of what period it is, what the score is, it is we're about to play some of the best hockey that we're going to go through.
Did you see what Don Cherry said about the captaincy?
Don Cherry's alive.
He has a podcast.
Don, we'll have you on. What did he say?
He said pretty much along the lines of he thinks it's disgusting to take the captaincy off of a player. He was all pissed off.
Invitation revoked. That is insane. It is okay to have a passing of the torch when it's needed, when it's deserved, and when it is frankly required.
Honestly, seeing the way, I mean, it was a different management, different coach. But I think Matthews not getting the captaincy when Tavares was named captain.
It was
I was kind of in the middle. Like Matthews had that little, there was some little legal trouble back.
It was the captain. I'll fill you. It was the Captain Underpants incident.
Yeah.
Where he mooned someone.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened.
Would it have been a PR nightmare? It was in the headlines for approximately 4 hours. No one really gave a shit. But to take it today, there's nothing wrong with that. Could he have done it before? Sure. It's also good to understand there's consequences to actions.
I think you need to grow. I don't like the let's give this guy the C just because he's the best player.
He's 19, 20.
We think he's going to be the captain in the future.
No.
Okay, great. In the future, you can be the captain.
And this is
I
where...
don't agree unless and listen, there are a few freaks. Your Crosbys, your Jonathan Tays, your Gabriel Landeskog. There's a few guys who are just natural born leaders.
Yeah.
Who deserve to be captains that young. I don't think Matthews was there when he was that young. He was not at that level. No. I don't think McDavid was at that level when they gave him the captaincy, and he was super young.
And that's a lot of pressure to add to an early superstar.
Like any Canadian market, it's a ton of pressure, let alone
Toronto media.
Toronto. Right?
It isn't like this anywhere else. You have one bad game, Toronto media is saying, sell this guy. Get him out of here.
Montreal is probably the only one that comes remotely close.
We turned on Marner, and he's one of our own.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. He's kind of GTA for you local folks. But yeah, no, I agree. And no, he is coming into it at a time where it's a rise to the occasion. You've got a changing of the guard in leadership from a coaching perspective, bringing in brand new coaches. I don't think they kept any assistants. It's brand new systems.
Even the assistants last year were pretty different. What's it? Carberry went to Washington.
Yeah.
I just said who else? Boucher was a power play guy last year.
And you saw it on the bench. It kind of astounds me. Willie doesn't have an A.
That doesn't surprise me.
When you have a guy who's willing to, because it's easy to console someone who's pissed off and be like, hey, it's okay, let's go out there. It is another, and to me, this is good leadership. When things are tough and things aren't going your way, to be, what the fuck are we going to do? We're not going to bitch and complain. We're going to get out there because that's our job.
Yep.
Our job is to get it done. And I loved seeing Willie stand up for, this is our game to win. This isn't handed to us.
You're defending Nylander right now?
For once in my life, this Swedish guy, he's getting my vote. Confidence here.
You can only have so many A's. They have the 5 main guys, right? One guy gets the C.
You do.
I think they rotate the A's based on home and away. I think that's what they did last year. I'm assuming that's what they do this year. Yeah. I would imagine that at this point, is there 2 A's a night?
Yeah.
Does Marner still have an A?
To my knowledge. And then you've got Riley with one.
But then Tavares will have an A too.
Well,
so maybe they rotate Marner and Riley. I'm not sure. I would imagine Tavares would keep the A since he was the previous captain, right?
Yeah.
Every night he would keep the A, I would assume.
I think it's a transition that makes sense. I like the timing.
Yeah. It's the right thing to do. It's the new regime.
And you may not have Tavares next year.
Yeah, he might be gone.
You don't know. We don't know.
We don't know. Okay. We talked a lot about the play.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna talk about one. One last thing to touch on in Leafland.
Okay.
He made his season debut Wednesday night as Timothy Liljegren. Obviously, ton of trade talks.
Lots of trade talks. Some potentially interested teams.
It doesn't sound like anything will get done soon.
The rumor as of today is Utah might be interested.
We'll see. My first question on this is he tradable? $3 million a year. I think 2 more years. Is he tradable?
I don't see why not. 2 years isn't a big commitment. He's fine. If you have a team willing to take it on and you just need some defensemen. You have some young guys and you want a guy who's been in the league who can, just be reliable enough. That is Liljegren.
$3 million for a third pairing defenseman.
But if you have really bad D, that could be a second pairing defenseman. We had him on PP1 for God's sake.
When was this?
This was when Riley was either Riley was out. I think he was hurt.
Riley must have been hurt.
We tried him. It didn't work out. Warning to any takers. But it's like he's not bad enough to not take a chance on if you have no other options.
Fair enough. The player himself is tradable. It's just the money he's on. Has he proven enough that you're gonna
$3 million is like you're paying for a top 4, top 5 D man.
Yeah, like I'd say like you got to be. I mean, $3 million in the grand scheme of things compared to what other guys make isn't that much. But he's been a third pairing guy his whole career.
Yeah.
With brief stints on the second pairing. I'd say if you're making 3, you got to be like you're the 4th defenseman.
And you do have a round of defensemen really coming into their own.
Yeah.
Jake Sanderson. My goodness. Welcome to the fucking NHL. You are a monster. Please come to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You have a hurt Luke Quinn. Luke who? Luke New Jersey.
Luke
Hughes, sorry.
He got his brother's name in there. So do you think Liljegren is? Do you think Timmins is better than Liljegren?
I don't think he's better, but where's the money at? Is he cheaper?
I think he's in the between 1 and 2 range.
Because if you're gonna keep Liljegren around, you're keeping him around because he's good enough to like at least stay in the mix and get his next paid contract.
Yeah,
and I don't think he is.
I think it's kind of a Robertson situation. I think he's gonna kind of if you can't deal him, he's gonna be gone when this deal's up anyway.
Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, I don't think this is a trade that'll happen anytime soon.
No.
If it does happen,
deadline?
Closer to deadline. I could see addition. I could see it being earlier than the deadline, but this is too early. We're 4 games in.
Yeah.
It's too early to tell.
My goodness, when you see some of these hockey comments on whatever it's fantasy or if you're on fucking Reddit looking at hockey.
Well, if you're on Reddit looking at hockey, that's your first problem.
The amount of people who think not even 2 weeks into the season is time to sound the alarm.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
We should put a warning out before we talk about the rest of the NHL.
Hey, Buffalo.
It's only a weekend.
Levi's not your guy. Your team sucks. That's it. Puka, Leka, whatever, is a phenomenal goalie.
You're big on him, man.
Oh my gosh, I love 6.
You're getting away from Toronto.
Hey, hone it in.
We'll get to the rest of the league.
We're honing it in.
Okay, so is he tradable? You think he is?
I think he's tradable.
I think he is, but I don't think you're getting much back.
No, you're not. You're getting rid of the contract and you're seeing maybe you can get a pick.
You'll get a pick, a conditional pick. That's what I would say. Landing spots. You mentioned Utah.
Utah is reasonable. Ottawa might be reasonable because their overall team sucks. I don't think he lands anywhere else in Canada.
So I have 4 teams here that I kind of looked around and I kind of thought these would be the 4 teams. So for Pittsburgh, Dubas was a big.
You're picking him up because you've got a lot of D-men there.
That's
Letang, Carlson,
100%. But a lot of D-men on the back half of their careers. Maybe take a little look towards the future. He can play third pairing for a little bit.
If you want to hedge.
If you are, Dubas is obviously high on him. He used the first round pick on him.
Hey, thanks, Dubas, because you're such a great GM.
He could be your third pairing guy, and then when Letang and Carlson are done, he takes over. Okay. That was just a Dubas connection. I kind of looked at Detroit. Detroit needs a little bit of help on the back end. Their depth isn't great on D.
Sider can't do it all.
Like Hall is in and out of the lineup there. We all know what Justin Hall is like in Leafland.
In Toronto.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate him.
So the fact that Hall played night in, night out in Toronto and he can barely play in Detroit, that says it all right there.
That'd be a good addition for Detroit.
The wings are one. The two that interest me the most, one is Dallas.
Really?
Because Dallas, if you look at Dallas in the playoffs last year, they pretty much rolled 5D. The sixth defenseman, whoever it was, they chopped and changed a little bit. The sixth defenseman played like less than 5 minutes a game.
Okay, so who do you have there? You have Heiskanen?
Harley are your main guys. Obviously, Tanev was there.
Solid.
Let's pull it.
Because I'm curious.
It's the sixth defenseman. It's the third pairing guy. That's exactly what it is.
Because they don't have a whole lot of money to spend. You have a lot of highly paid guys.
I think they're okay now, but in a couple of years they're going to be up against it. So you got
big Marchman guy right now.
Heiskanen, Harley, Lindell, Lundqvist, Lyubushkin, and Brendan Smith are your 6D.
Lyubushkin.
Yeah. And Matt Dumba. Matt Dumba's hurt right now.
Okay.
I'm just going off of the fact that the 6th D-man for Dallas averaged less than 5 minutes of ice in the playoffs last year.
That's a water break.
That's
very low minutes. That's a water break once a period.
That is very low minutes. Like, that is unheard of in today's NHL.
I have more NHL time than
fourth line guys are getting, like, over 10 minutes.
Wow. Okay. So, last on the list?
Last on the list is Edmonton. Because we're seeing the struggles on D. It's probably gotten worse than what it was last year.
Who'd they get rid of on D?
They lost.
You've got Darnell Nurse.
They lost.
They have Bouchard.
Broberg, the offer sheet for St. Louis. That's a big one. Okay. Broberg's a big one.
Okay.
They've tried. So Stetcher is on the second pairing with Nurse right now. It hasn't panned out.
And I think we mentioned this is a do or die year for Edmonton.
Yeah. The D, like Emberson hasn't worked out. Stetcher hasn't really worked out. It's kind of Ekholm and Bouchard together. They want to play them together, but can you afford to keep doing that?
Big fucking Ekholm.
Ekholm and Bouchard is one of the better pairings in the league.
Yeah.
But after that, if they're not on the ice, it's fucking scary.
Yeah. And Darnell Nurse showed last year he's not necessarily as reliable as his $9 million contract is saying.
We're talking about up against the cap. Edmonton's up against the cap as well, just like Toronto, just like
that's why you're gonna have to move some stuff around if that actually is gonna happen.
That's not our job. We're not
we're not the GMs.
We don't handle the cap.
I don't pay the money.
Sorry. That's just the couple landing spots I thought of. I kind of looked into it a little bit. So what do you think? We kind of touched on it. What do you think the return would look like?
It's a pick and maybe a guy at the finishing his contract.
I would honestly probably say maybe 2 picks, probably a third with conditions, and maybe it becomes a second with a condition.
Yeah,
that's what I see.
You're taking on a contract that's about to end that isn't cheap.
Well, he's still got another year. He just
I consider within the next 2 years about to end.
He just signed it though. It's a bridge deal.
Well, Timothy, I wish you well. I wish you well, pal. So we'll see you later.
We'll see what happens there.
I don't think he fits.
Yeah.
He got a chance. I think it was LA he played.
Yeah. I don't love Timmins either. But
didn't know he was on the ice.
Timmins has been a little better this year compared to last year. Timmins was really bad last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. When Hakanpää comes back, there isn't really going to be room for Liljegren.
No, if he comes back, he's coming back.
We'll see
what Hakanpää is going to come back.
Point being, Hakanpää fits the Chief mold more than
Agreed.
Liljegren and Timmins do, and it seems that
Agreed.
Timmins is the favorite over Liljegren at this time.
At least by all
Yeah.
evidence that we can kind of point to,
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay. I have nothing else on the Leafs. You have anything else on the Leafs?
No. Just way to go, Stoli. You're our guy. You're my guy.
Wall was practicing today, so
Don't get used to it, Wall.
just calm down.
Don't get
right?
used to it.
Calm down. Okay, so we're gonna go around the league now.
Okay.
My first talking point is now. Listen up, folks. I know that Jack is gonna sit here and pretend like he's a diehard Maple Leafs fan.
Oh, no.
He's the best Leafs fan in the world.
Oh, I love the Toronto Maple Leafs.
But true to his core,
No.
Jack Van Dam loves the Edmonton Oilers. Now, granted, they've won a couple games since I made this note.
I don't hate the Edmonton Oilers.
Edmonton stinks.
Edmonton is fun. It is a fun team to watch play when you have Edmonton showing up. Offensive prowess. You've got some of the top talent in the world on that team. They're a high scoring team.
So are we.
I think Jeff Skinner
You don't need to go far. If you're supposed to be a Leafs fan, that's what Leafs are good at.
Jeff Skinner, you kind of suck, but I don't dislike. If I have a Pacific team that I like to enjoy watching, it's the Anaheim Ducks and it's the fucking Edmonton Oilers. I don't hate watching.
Don't put the Ducks in the same breath as the Oilers.
Hey.
You're an Oilers jock sniffer. Come on now.
I think that the depth that they have managed to get on that team and commit, it took them to the Stanley Cup fucking finals last year. It brought them back. Oh my gosh, when you had them down 3-0 and they make it a 7-game series, that's a fun team to watch play. Were they having some struggles at the beginning of this season? It's 2 fucking games in.
Well, that's it. Like 4 or 5 now.
But I do. I think they're a talented team. I think they're fun to watch. I think they've got some good coaching behind the bench. And if this isn't the year, blow it up. Blow it up. You just committed how much fucking money to Draisaitl?
Yeah.
You've got a lot riding on this season.
Yeah, and McDavid's going to only make more. You still have to pay Bouchard.
That, to me, makes it a really compelling watch to see these guys. They know exactly what they're in. They know the situation the team's in. They know that this is a do or die year. And if they don't make it happen, the team looks drastically, potentially different next year.
Listen, they did not have a great offseason.
Why?
The D and the players they lost, when you look at it on paper, doesn't look that terrible. Like losing Cody Ceci doesn't sound that terrible.
His name's Cody. How good could he be? Agent Cody Banks?
But somehow they've gotten worse. Broberg's the one for me. And I think
that is a loss.
I think that's a good move for Broberg because they get a lot more opportunity in St. Louis.
Yeah.
For big minutes, maybe power play minutes, because he's not getting it with Bouchard here. It's just not going to happen.
You're just not. And there's a couple guys ahead of you. Even with Bouchard wasn't there.
Nurse.
Yeah. Ekholm.
Yeah. Ekholm's not really a power play guy. He's more of an
but I think he gets a shot.
Yeah.
Broberg.
Well, you know, you give him a chance, but yeah, just let's try and stick with Edmonton here. Just hasn't been working so far. Obviously, it's still super early, and I'm sure they'll figure it out. They're still going to make the playoffs. They're still going to be a threat.
It's not quite the panic that it was last year.
Yeah, I just don't think. Like, I mean, I did predict them to win the President's Trophy, and I'm not going to back away from anything. But I'm not as confident as I was with that prediction.
You would have liked to see them rolling from.
Yeah, I kind of thought that everyone was ranting and raving about how great McDavid was on the Amazon show. I'm saying like in terms of on the Amazon show,
okay,
and his attitude. like take away the on ice stuff, just like the off ice
That
leadership
behind
stuff.
doors screaming.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Leadership.
Everyone's talking about leadership, so I thought they'd fucking jump out of the gate and say, "We want to be back," and it doesn't look that way so far. Again, it's only 4 or 5 games in.
Yeah.
So we're not going to jump to conclusions. I am more. I'm not as high on them as I once was.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Not that I was ever that high on them. I still think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to compete. I don't think this roster is built to win the Stanley Cup.
I think it's a longer shot than I want to admit. I think that they've got so much money siloed in that team that it makes it tough. It's the same challenges we deal with.
Like, is Jeff Skinner really the answer here?
Jeff Skinner, I love your mustache. I don't want you on my fucking. I don't want you on my team.
Notice how he just said my team.
Hey, Team Can. I don't want you on Team Canada.
Oilers. Jeff Skinner ain't coming anywhere close to Team Canada.
I just don't think. I don't think that's your guy. You're winning a Stanley Cup with.
He's never played a playoff game. Not that it's completely his fault. He's played on shit teams, but just putting that out there. Not to pick on Jeff Skinner. It's not Jeff Skinner's fault. He just joined the fucking team. But just saying, that's your answer for secondary scoring. I think you could do a little better.
Same with Stuart Skinner. It's too many Skinners on one team.
Yeah.
Stuart Skinner.
Yeah,
You're not winning a cup with Stuart Skinner.
Listen, I don't think he's a horrible goalie. I think he's very streaky. He kind of comes up in moments. I think if Stuart Skinner played with the 1980s Edmonton Oilers, they'd win the cup no problem.
I get harder ice cream at Dairy Queen, getting a blizzard. That's Stuart Skinner. I don't think he has the grit capable. He doesn't have a Bobrovsky. He doesn't have a Vasilevsky. I'm gonna go into this playoffs and no one's gonna fucking score.
But you don't need to. You don't need that anymore. It's not the fucking. Excuse me. It's not the fucking 90s.
I'd take it though.
You need competent goaltending. You just don't. You don't. If you are a strong team, like Colorado is a big example. Vegas is a big example. They didn't need elite goaltending to win the cup, right? They needed competent goaltending, but the team around them was really good, and they just needed solid.
You need a goalie with long hair.
Okay, fuck Edmonton. Let's go to somebody else.
Okay,
let's go to my preseason surprise. Now they've come back down to earth a little bit. They've lost the last couple. I think one was an overtime loss, so they're still going to point. The Utah Hockey Club is buzzing out of the gate.
Josh Doan?
Dylan Gunter.
Oh my God. Rocking into the season.
What did I say? We haven't seen it. Cooley hasn't been mentioned a lot yet, but he's coming.
He's had okay output.
And Gunter. Okay.
Holy fucking shit.
The only guy that I've seen that size that rivals Elias Pettersson that can shoot the puck like that at that size.
Don't say it. Pettersson level? Pettersson level is that's a big statue to put him against.
Pettersson level, but I'm saying he can shoot the fucking puck.
Pettersson hasn't done much this season, but anyway.
No, we'll get to that.
I digress.
We'll get to that.
They've made a really good impression.
Sergachev's been really good. Durzi's been really good. Ingram is solid.
Ingram's been good enough.
Clayton Keller.
Stud.
Every year, you just kind of think Clayton Keller is like, he's a good player.
Great player.
But you don't think he's like upper echelon. He's not gonna.
Honestly,
like, do you think? I don't think many people would think that Clayton Keller is captain material.
No.
But he kind of is.
I think here's my 2 cents. I think people downplayed them just purely based on where they played. I think people are going to respect them more and pay attention more, deservedly so or not, because they're now in Utah and not in Arizona. I think everyone saw that shitty arena and said, what a joke of a team. I'm going to downgrade them, and I'm not going to give some of those, frankly, all-star players. Clayton Keller is a fucking really good hockey player.
Yep.
And I don't think he got the respect he deserved in Arizona. And I think people are finally recognizing what a lot of people have seen for a couple years now in Clayton Keller. And you're surrounding him with some phenomenal picks.
Like Keller's been a point per game guy for the past couple of years, and I don't think anyone thought that production would continue
No,
year after year,
no.
and
And
it has the past
it
couple of years.
stayed.
Yeah, it stayed on a very mediocre team. Now he's getting a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Now we're kind of shitting on the Coyotes a little bit. I'm glad that
Arizona, you're a terrible place. Arizona, your state sucks.
Okay, take it easy. It's not Ohio, all right?
Sucks.
I don't feel bad. I feel bad for the fans, but I'm not angry that they're gone. But the one thing I will definitely miss about the Arizona Coyotes is the fucking Kachina jerseys. I love those fucking jerseys.
Great jerseys.
But the Utah Hockey Club, my boys, my Western Conference boys,
They're
my
coming.
surprise pick, they're coming. They're buzzing.
Coming this season.
They're buzzing. Out of the gate.
Credit where credit's due. Credit where credit's due. They're rising the occasion. I'm excited to see what happens with them as the season progresses. Yep. Again, week 2, guys. But to see the success they've had this early on, just it feels good. It feels like an underdog Cinderella story to a degree.
Yep.
You have this team that wasn't supported, that had to move because they just didn't have the fan base there. And you had all these players move across the country. Arizona is nowhere near Utah.
I mean, across the country might be an
Across the country. And they've had a warm welcome in their
geography lesson.
I had a 70 in grade 9 geography. Oh, Mr. Jones, okay? Mr. Jones, you were great. You played a lot of Call of Duty. You spoke to us about it. I don't know geography in Canada very well, let alone the United States. We move on.
So on to the next team. We were very much shitting on this team in our Western Conference preview last week. So did we speak too soon on the Calgary Flames?
The Prairie
we were ready
Dogs
to kill them.
Have come alive.
We were ready to bury them.
Kuzmenko. Or
fucking Huberdeau.
Some of the guys that kind of slept last year are awake.
Yep. I didn't even realize Huberdeau had 60 points last year. Now, obviously, for a guy that makes his money, that's not good.
Yeah.
But it was not as bad as what I thought it was.
I kind of dismissed the Flames last year, especially considering some of those guys who just had flop seasons. And you look back and you're like, yeah, actually, Huberdeau had 60 points. I don't know what Kuzmenko did last year, but to come in and...
He's kind of split the year with Vancouver and Calgary. Didn't really have a role with either. It's kind of...
But you have some of these guys who are really having a strong start to the season.
Yep. So there's a pretty common theme here. My players to watch, a lot of them have done pretty well so far. I mentioned.
Are you saying they're the difference makers?
Listen, I mentioned Dylan Gunter with Utah. He's done well. Dustin Wolf has been good so far for Calgary. Just saying.
Is this Drew's difference makers?
Yeah, just saying. Out of the gates here.
I think it's valid. I think I was a little bit worried with the goaltending.
But even Vladar has been good too. They've both been good. They've pretty much split time, and they've both been successful.
I still think they have a lot to prove over the course of a season. They do have some challenging teams in their division. We'll see if it lasts, but Calgary Flames maybe dismissed too early.
Yeah, a little too early. I think they're going to make the playoffs? No, but they're not going to be an easy game. They're going to be a hard night. Everyone that goes to play in Calgary or against Calgary, it's going to be a hard night. It's not going to be an easy night. They're going to bang. They're going to work their asses off.
Maybe they take a couple games off of really high
Maybe they push for a playoff spot, right? The bottom of the Pacific is not strong.
Go be a wild card, and then once you're in the playoffs,
you never know.
Anyone's game.
I doubt it. We're still very early.
Give Nas another cup. Nas, come back to Toronto. Buddy.
I mentioned it last week. Nas for Team Canada.
Nas Team Canada, come back to Toronto.
We'll stick it. We're going around the Canadian teams here. Vancouver.
Oh.
Vancouver. So I watched the Vancouver game against Tampa Bay I believe it was Monday night.
How disappointing.
No, Tuesday. It was Tuesday night.
You have a lot of quiet talent.
So I watched that game. Let me find what night this was.
No, that I think you're right. I think that was it was
It was
Tuesday.
Tuesday. It was
Yeah.
Tuesday night. So it was Tuesday night. I watched. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched the majority of it. And I saw a lot of good things. They had some good stretches. They had a stretch in the second. They were all over them. They got on the power play. They had a bunch of chances. Vasilevsky shut the door. And then they continued that 5-on-5. They were all over him. And then Tampa Bay went down on the other end and one shot and it was in the net. So I think a big issue here is goaltending. It's going to be a common theme today, folks.
No,
With a lot of teams
no.
that are
Demko
struggling.
is huge.
Demko, I think because of the way Shilov's played at the end of the season last year, people kind of thought we can wait.
High expectations.
We can wait a little bit. We can let Demko rest. That's not to say I think they should rush Demko back. I think you want to wait until he's actually ready.
Take his time.
Yeah. But I think they expected a little more out of Shilov's, however the fuck you want to pronounce
You're missing Demko.
Yeah.
Take your time because you don't want to fuck up one of the greater goaltenders in the league right now, but you're missing him.
That's not to say I think Vancouver's been terrific. I haven't watched a whole lot of them.
Pedersen,
the late night stuff,
getting the contract he got, having 1 assist right now.
Yeah, it's
1. JT Miller's
lots of issues in the playoffs.
JT's doing well. He's doing fine.
Yeah.
He's at 2 goals, 1 assist. The power play looked fine.
Like I said, I saw a lot of good things in the Tampa game.
Yeah. And maybe it's my own bias. I don't look at Tampa and I'm like, you're a serious playoff contender. That might be my own bias.
We'll get to that.
But the fact that you kind of got, I don't know, to take that game and to lose it so early, I wouldn't have liked to see that because I'm high on Vancouver.
Yeah, listen, that's not to say that the rest of the players are getting off scot-free here. You're still losing game in, game out pretty much to start the year. But I don't think I think if they have competent goaltending that doesn't lose them games, I think they're in and around the playoff hunt, right? They're in the mix.
They're in the mix.
They're going to be in the mix, and then once Demko's healthy, things could get a lot better.
Yeah.
Obviously, they kind of want to rely a little bit on the Tocchet defensive system. They were kind of hoping that's what would get them through, however long Demko ends up being out for. But it hasn't worked out so far. But again, it's still super early.
Yeah.
That's all I got on Vancouver.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
Another team that I wouldn't say we were down on, but we kind of lowered expectations from last year. They were kind of a surprise last year at how well they did. And I think a lot of people have them a lot of people are down on them big time, but a lot of people kind of have them. They'll get in, they'll get a wild card spot.
Put some respect on the Jets.
The Winnipeg Jets, I mean, good. They're going to be okay.
Kyle Connor.
You're just saying Kyle Connor because you just traded.
I love Kyle Connor.
Shout out Kyle Connor from Michigan.
One of the more disappointing Perfetti I would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of.
It's early. Hellebuyck out of the gates here. He looked like shit in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
He comes back, no issues.
Doing well.
Yeah. The goaltending is a big theme for the teams that are good and the teams that are bad.
They're playing tonight, and I think when I last looked, they were up like 3-1. I think the Winnipeg Jets have a decent season ahead of them. I really do. Yeah, they're up. I mean, it's against
San Jose.
It's against San Jose.
5-2.
5-2.
Yeah.
I like the Jets. I like their. And Kyle Connor has a goal. There we go. Hey, fantasy points. Hey, put one up for your boy. I think Winnipeg. Yeah, I think they're gonna be maybe middle of the pack. But so far, it's been a decent showing from them. They lost. I think they lost Dylan over the offseason, which is a big loss on defense.
Yeah. He went to New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're undefeated. They haven't lost a game yet. Looks like they're gonna win again tonight.
Keep it rolling.
Winnipeg's buzzing out of the gates here.
So
Lots of
embarrassed
buzzing out of the gates.
that terrible city, San Jose.
There's honestly like, you know what? All these guys from the middle of nowhere, Canada, they got nothing else to do, so they focus on fucking hockey.
Play some
And
puck.
they get it done.
Play some puck.
Lots of Canadian influence here.
You know what? I even need to take a little bit more of a deep dive on who do they actually have?
Winnipeg?
Yeah,
Your boy Kyle Connor,
the best.
Mark Scheifele,
Right.
Josh Morrissey.
Nasty.
Josh Morrissey's going to try and play his way into a Team Canada job. It's going to be tough for him because there's a lot of offensive defensemen ahead of him.
Nasty.
But he's a good player. I haven't really changed my mind on Winnipeg. I think they're a solid hockey team. I don't think they're as bad as people are making them out to be. I don't think they're going to be amazing. I don't think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to get a wild card. I think that's how it's going to be. Now, based on what other teams in their division are doing, they could get in the top three if those two teams keep playing that way. We'll get to those two teams later.
Okay. Overall, congrats to the Winnipeg Jets.
Well done.
You're coming out. Hey, you're coming out flying.
Now, he did do that on purpose, by the way.
It's always on purpose.
Let's get out of Canada. Let's get down south here.
Oh, fuck you. To honestly, okay, the Vegas Golden Knights. Can we start there?
Yep. That's the first team out of the four I got here.
Vegas Golden Knights.
Buzzing out of the gates here.
How are you always so okay?
You didn't believe me.
I didn't.
You didn't believe
I
me.
thought they were going to be in shambles.
You didn't believe me. And they do this all the time. And everyone gets down on them.
Sammy.
Then we start playing hockey.
Sammy got a win.
Did he?
I
was like, good for him.
Only,
I fucking hate his guts. So.
Only start of the season so far. Sammy got a win.
Yep, good for him. Why do people keep doubting this team?
Honestly, I think part of it's just like the injuries.
Look at the fucking decor.
You had Jack Eichel coming out of, was it back surgery or some sort of a back issue?
Like neck.
Concern for me.
He's going to be really good.
Mark Stone.
He's going to be really good this year.
Mark Stone, halfway through the year, is going to get injured. He's just gonna.
LTIR.
Whatever it is. Whether it's real or not, he's going to get injured.
Why is it him? Why can't they just do it with someone else?
They had... Hannafin's there now.
Hannafin's there.
Hannafin's been doing well.
Hannafin's a good player.
You had...
that decor. That's why.
Carlson came in. I think he's still injured, is he not?
I think Carlson's out still.
So I came in being like, these guys are going to struggle early.
Yeah.
And they haven't.
Nope.
They've shown up, and what's their record so far? I don't think they've lost.
Yeah, I think they've kind of lost a few. They're 3-2. So I think they won. I think they won their first couple. They lost the last couple.
I've tuned into 2, and they've been playing well. And I think that, I don't know. I think if they can stay healthy, I think if Carlson coming back would be big for them.
Yeah, that center depth. They have loved that center depth.
They lost with Theodore's there, I believe. Yeah. They lost Roy, I want to say, did they not?
Yeah, is Roy in Washington?
Something like that.
Anyway,
so I think there was some change up, and I think there was some doubt. But they seem okay. And you had who was it? Who's now the goalie for Washington?
Thompson.
You had Thompson go. You've still got Aiden Hill.
You still got Hill. That's a team that goaltending doesn't really matter. Doesn't seem to matter who they play.
Sammy as a backup. Like, come on, that's not bad.
That's bad.
That's bad. Okay. What are your thoughts on?
I've said it last week. Vegas is going to be good. I don't know why people are down on them. That decor is deep.
Decor is deep. One
of the best first pairings in the NHL. Hannafin, McNabb, Haig, White Cloud.
Yeah.
Deep decor. Deep at center, especially when Carlson gets back here. Eichel, Hurdle, Carlson, Nick Roy.
Hurdle.
On paper, they don't look great. You know who's fucking unreal?
Who?
Ivan Barbashev.
Yes. Okay. Side note, if in your fantasy leagues Barbashev is available, guy puts up numbers. He's last time I looked, he was at like a 19% rostered.
He never gets like
He doesn't
big
get the
recognition, but the scoring is solid,
recognition he
but all the
deserves.
secondary stuff buzzes around with the secondary category.
Even in the scoring,
But the
he's
scoring is
doing
solid too.
okay.
Yeah, and he does it every year. And he's cheap.
Yeah.
He's a fucking playoff guy.
Yep. You tried to trade me him last year
Did I?
at one point. Do you still have him?
No, I do not.
Who'd you trade him
I
to?
must have dealt him.
Okay, we'll talk after. Vegas seems to be doing fine. That's kind of the synopsis of this is Vegas is holding their own. 3-2 is not bad. Um, we'll see what they kind of go forward in the next couple weeks.
Um, Dallas, my cup pick, Dallas.
Dallas is doing just
Solid
fine.
start.
The depth
Just
on
a
that team is
typical.
wild.
Yeah, that's. I'd say Florida's the only team that's comparable, and even Florida anymore because of the winning the cup, they lost a lot of guys.
I love their second line.
I love all their lines.
Sagan, Marchman, and Duchesne is, I believe, their second line.
I believe Segan's hurt right now.
Because that is nasty.
It is at the moment it's listed Marchman, Duchesne, Dadonov because Segan's out.
All right.
But the first
Sagan, excuse you.
Fuck off.
Boston fan.
Maverick Bork's back. That's big.
Yeah.
And that fucking third line, Jamie Benn, Maverick Bork, and Logan Stankoven.
I think it's inevitable you have another year where Dallas is going to go deep into the playoffs. I think we agreed last episode.
And they're laughing because the rest of the contenders in the division are fucking shit in the bed there.
They threw away that series last year.
They should have won. They should have won.
They really should have.
Yeah.
We'll see what they can do.
Yeah, I don't really have too many thoughts on them. I just kind of wanted to touch on them.
As expected, they're a solid team. They're doing well.
New Jersey. A lot of people were
fuck New Jersey.
A lot of people were high on New Jersey. They were kind of everyone's preseason favorite. Not favorite to win the whole thing, but
Kiefer's
kind of bounced back.
Kiefer's struggling.
Well, they've been good.
I don't know. I don't think I don't think this is a team that goes.
You know that New Jersey's first in the NHL right now.
For now.
They've also played the most games, but that's besides the point.
I don't think that they have the team that's going to be able to get it done. I don't think they even get it past
in the playoffs, or you don't think they're going to make the playoffs?
I think they make the playoffs. I don't think they go past the first round.
Well, we'll see. I think they could possibly go by the first round. I don't think they're going deep runs here, but I do like their roster, the way it's constructed, a lot better than what it was. They have some injuries on D. Guys haven't even played that. You mentioned Brendan Dillon.
Yeah.
They also brought in Pesci from Carolina. He hasn't even played a game yet. Luke Hughes hasn't played a game yet.
Luke Hughes. Oh, Luke, get better. You're on my fantasy roster. I got you on IR.
Michigan man, Seamus Casey is buzzing out of the gates here.
Michigan man.
Kovacevic, however you want to pronounce it. He's been good so far. Hamilton looks solid.
Yeah.
New Jersey looks good. Who the fuck is Paul Cotter? But he's been unreal.
Yeah, okay. Paul Cotter was on Vegas.
Yeah.
And, he had some highlights. He had some sick plays in Vegas, but he was always kind of, in the shadow. I think he was maybe third line, second line. Coming in, he might be one of the top 5 points guys right now in the league.
He's high. I mean, he's playing a line.
Scored again last night. Thank you very much. Picked you up.
Hughes and Brock, so
a little waiver wire pickup. I think he has a lot of skill that I don't think was really kind of observed in Vegas, and he seems to be adjusting well to New Jersey.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll give him that.
Keefe seems to always find these. Well, he's not finding them, but under him, they seem to find these random players like Michael Bunting, Zach Hyman at one point, who are just successful under him.
The thing is the longevity.
Yeah.
Is this just a streak? Right? Is this consistency is going to be key?
Who knows? But they've been good out of the gate here.
Yep.
I mentioned Timo Meier as my comeback player. He's been good so far.
Yeah.
Just to pump my own tires a little bit because I've been a lot of the guys that I said were going to do well. They doing well.
Similar to Winnipeg. Credit where credit's due.
Yep.
Little upside down Michigan symbol right there.
Yeah. Okay. The last team I have on this list, I just added them the other day. I didn't realize they're doing so well, and I added them because you were shitting on them because you don't think a team that makes the Stanley Cup final every fucking year is going to make the fucking playoffs, but they've been one of the best teams in the league out of the gate here.
Okay.
The Tampa Bay Lightning.
I don't like the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I understand that, but they're winning, so you're wrong.
For now. For now, they're winning. I think getting rid of
Kucherov looks like a Rocket Richard candidate this year.
My God,
he's buzzing out of the gate.
Holy smokes!
He said, "Stammer's gone, no problem. I'll score,
no issue,
no problems." Vasilevsky looks like old Vasilevsky.
Yep.
That's why you can't count out Tampa. They have these guys. They know how to win. They know how to play. Right. Vasilevsky had a late start last year.
And season in, season out, show up.
These guys, Hedman's kind of refreshed. You have that McDonough Chernak pairing back together. That was a really good pairing previously. Yep. They've kind of figured it out.
We'll see if it lasts.
We'll see.
Great coaching.
I just don't with that goalie. As long as if he's playing well,
you can't. Like, he can be the difference maker. So
yeah,
if you can put one goal in, Vasilevsky can win you the game.
Yeah. How's Gensel done so far? I haven't really heard much about him.
Not sure. I do have two more teams I want to touch on.
Gensel's got 4 assists. Okay, not bad.
Decent enough.
For in terms of like being good.
Decent enough. That's probably top 20, 40% of the league right now.
Yeah.
4 assists, you're doing just fine.
So the teams you want to touch on, like in terms of teams that are playing well, is that what you wanted to touch on?
Just conversational teams. Because I was so high on Nashville.
So this is my next category is the shit teams. And Nashville's the first team in my list.
What the hell? Nashville? Forsberg? You're doing fine.
Nashville was kind of the New Jersey of the West. It was everyone's hot pick to do well in the West. And I wasn't as, just like New Jersey, I was not as high as everyone else is. I'm not saying they're going to be shit. No. I think they're a playoff team still. But they're struggling out of the gate here. Now, granted, it's a lot of new players.
Yep.
But a lot of those new players are on the wrong side of 30. I mentioned it a lot. You're bringing in a lot of veteran guys.
It's Nashville.
You're relying on these veteran guys. You have O'Reilly, you have Stamkos, you have Marchessault. They're all on the wrong side of 30 here.
Marchessault.
Yossi's on the wrong side of 30. Not to say that they're bad players. They're good players.
All of them are doing okay. It's just not working.
It's a young league.
Yeah.
It's a young league. It's fast. Tommy Novak centering Marchessault and Stamkos hasn't worked out too well.
No. More than you'd want more at this point.
You don't. You need somebody, at least one player on your line that can move. Like the NHL today, you have to be able to skate.
Marshall's small and he's old.
And it's just not.
And I love
Marchessault on the third line now.
I love you, Marchessault.
Marchessault got demoted.
Oh, it might be time to...
It's not working so far.
It might
it's
be
early.
Marchessault, I might have to drop you. I still love you, buddy. I might pick you up. I might have to trade you or drop you.
It's still very early.
The other team I
think will be okay.
Montreal Canadiens.
Okay. Before we get to them, I got a couple of things on them.
Okay.
The last shit team I have, I only have the really two really shit teams because the rest of the teams that are kind of being shit right now, well, we've touched on Edmonton and Vancouver already. The rest of the teams are kind of expected. We expect San Jose to suck, right?
They're supposed to suck and they're sucking.
Yeah. The teams in the East, Philly, we expect them to suck.
Supposed to suck, they're sucking.
Yeah. Teams like that. But Colorado.
Not supposed to suck. Not like this.
I know they have they're missing some players, a lot of guys here. And
goaltending.
You just added Devon Taste to that list of injured guys.
You have Manson?
Yeah, you still
Manson's out, I believe.
Is Manson out too?
I believe Drouin's out. Actually, Manson might not be out. I might be thinking of Drouin. Drouin's out. Yeah. Goaltending has been what happened to Georgiev. Yeah, I'm sorry, I said it was Gorgiev last time. It's Georgiev. I understand that now.
Where did you find this out?
Annunciation on broadcasts.
Okay.
But
fair enough. But yeah, you're right. Drouin is out. Taze is out. Lekkonen's still out. Nichushkin's going to be out a while. Landeskog, I don't know what the fuck is going on there.
No.
I saw a take somewhere before the season. I don't know if I mentioned this. I may have mentioned it on our West preview. That somebody said that a Noonan would take over the starting job by Christmas. Did I mention that?
I think you mentioned this.
It's not looking out of the realm of possibility right now.
At this point, it's kind of looking likely.
Yeah, it's looking pretty likely. I found a stat here. Not a stat, sorry. It was a Sportsnet article, and it was kind of talking about the teams that haven't been playing well.
Yeah.
Do we think it's going to stay that way? So I have a couple of things on Colorado. So Colorado, only one team in the league has a higher percentage of their games in the offensive zone than the Avs. So the Avs have spent the second most amount of time in the NHL in the offensive zone.
Okay.
Which is high.
That's very high. That's a positive.
And they are in the top. They are in the top of the league for expected goals for and expected goals against.
You want one of those, not the other.
No, like meaning high expected goals against, meaning that it's low. Like they're near the top, like it's good for them.
You're not saying they are expected to be scored against.
Yeah, I'm saying it's low that they're one of the better teams is what I'm saying for both categories.
And that's not happening.
So based on that, you hear those things, you think that they're going to be a good hockey team. Well,
the Colorado Avalanche.
Their shooting percentage is in the bottom half of the league. So that doesn't help.
When you have the skill on that team.
And the save percentage, I think we know, is horrendous, dead last. So I don't want to pick on Georgiev here because when he had a good first half last year. I think he made the All-Star game, didn't he?
Did he get injured?
I don't think so.
Why is he falling off?
I don't know. He struggled in the playoffs last year.
And admittedly, I haven't tuned in. There's only so many games we can watch, guys. Okay, we have full-time jobs. I haven't tuned into Colorado, but looking at the scores the next day and looking at the shots against, looking at the production overall, you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
In Colorado.
So honestly, I think it'll even itself out a little bit. Like the shooting percentage can't be that bad all year.
It must.
When you have guys like McKinnon and Rantanen in your lineup, right? And then you're gonna get guys back. I'd imagine Lekkonen's got to be coming back soon.
Hopefully.
Nichushkin, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Landeskog, I would love for somebody to tell me like why it's taking so long. They were talking about him possibly playing in the playoffs if they made a deep run last year, and then now he doesn't start the season. I'm very confused on that. And like the Avs won the cup with very like middling goaltending. They don't need elite goaltending here. Now, granted, the depth isn't what it was because they've had to pay guys, but they still have like McKinnon was the best player in the NHL last year.
Yeah.
Makar's the best defenseman in the NHL. Rantanen's one of the top goal scorers in the NHL.
Yeah.
Middlestad's looked good since he's come over as a second line center.
That's been the highlight of the team.
So, like depth guys like a lot of those players we've mentioned that have been out, like Lekkonen, Nichushkin. I think what they miss most with Landeskog is the leadership.
Yeah.
That's a big guy to miss in the room because he has been the guy in Colorado since he first came in as a rookie. He has been the guy. Maybe not as much on the ice. Obviously, a really good player, top end player. Yeah. But you have guys like McKinnon, Makar, and Rantanen
that should be able to step up.
That don't have an issue producing. What Landeskog brings is intangibles. Yeah. He has a scoring touch, but he bangs. It's leadership. I think he's a great player. I think a lot of people will find out I love my Swedes because the Swedes are the closest to North American style.
Big Nylander guy.
Swedes are the closest to North American style of play.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll disagree. Outside of Nylander, you'll disagree. I just can't see it staying this bad. They have a lot of things to fix, but it can't stay this bad.
There's some teams that are starting on a high, and there's some teams that you expect and are overachieving, and then there's some teams that are starting on a low that will inevitably achieve more. Colorado's one of those teams.
Yeah. Okay. before we get to Montreal, they're next. I don't really have much on the team, but I have a couple individual players.
Hit it.
But Florida, fucking injury issues with the defending Stanley Cup champions, and honestly, they haven't looked bad with the injury issues.
They've what's the record at?
It's probably, I would say, hovering around 500.
Yeah.
Barkov sounds like he's going to be out a while. Kachuk's been sick.
For how long? He's been out all season.
Well, he played the first game. I think they said the 22nd he'll be back, something like that. They're 3-2-1.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. It's not bad. I watched on Monday afternoon. You probably caught the third period with me a little bit. You probably caught a glimpse.
Yeah.
The Florida-Boston game was fucking bananas. It was wild. The first period was penalty after penalty, fight after fight, and I love it. I'm all for it.
He was describing it to me, and it was just electric.
Yeah. It was fun to watch, okay? But they're first in the Atlantic without Barkov and Kachuk right now.
That's pretty damn good.
That's pretty good. Bob is still Bob. Spencer Knight's been decent in his couple of games.
And he was an unknown to me coming in.
Well, not unknown. He was a pretty big prospect.
For me, I didn't know Spencer Knight at all.
Well, he was a pretty big prospect, and he played a bunch of games.
Last year?
Not last year, but the 2 seasons before that. He played a lot.
Okay.
Because Bob had his struggles. If you remember, Bob was not playing well in Florida before the playoffs that they lost to Vegas in the final. Because Alex Lyon got them in the playoffs, and Alex Lyon was the starter at the beginning of the playoffs. And then when they went down, Bob came in and won a heater. Right. He hasn't looked back since.
Right.
Spencer Knight was getting a lot of time then, and it didn't really work out. I know he got sent down at some. I think he might have gone in the assistance program for something.
Okay. So
but he's looked good.
Florida's going to do okay.
Florida was going to be okay. Bennett's looked really good.
Yep.
With those two guys
a little
out.
Quiet.
Verhaeghe's a little quiet, but those guys do their job.
Yeah.
They just get it done.
Yeah.
That's all I really had in Florida. Yeah. We can go to. You wanted to touch on Montreal.
Montreal. The Montembeault.
Yep.
Effect.
Yeah.
He lost his first game yesterday or 2 days ago. But my gosh, was he just lights out the first 2 games.
Yep.
47 saves against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Offensive prowess team. I don't know how many it was, but lights out against Ottawa. Ottawa, kind of an embarrassing team. But still, they have some offensive prowess. He has looked so good.
Yep.
And
he looked good last year, too.
That's one thing. But we'll see if he continues. But Cole Caulfield looking really good.
Yep.
I just think Montreal is getting some momentum, and I'd like to see it.
Montembeault for Team Canada?
A lot of people are talking about it. And at this point, it's hard to argue with.
At this point, you're taking him over Stuart Skinner.
You are. Stuart, your mustache. I love it. I don't love you in net.
Yeah, Cole Caulfield's been buzzing out of the gate here. He changed his number to number 13 to honor his buddy Gaudreau.
Nick Suzuki a little quiet, but
Suzuki just does his job, though.
Yeah.
Slavkovsky's been solid. Yeah. And another guy that I mentioned, and a guy that I am probably biggest on.
I can skate.
Lane Hudson, ladies and gentlemen.
Fucking Hudson.
Now, the past couple of games, he's kind of come back down to earth. He's been a minus, no points. You're going to have your growing pains. He's a rookie. He's an offensive guy on a team that isn't particularly great defensively.
It's still the Habs. It's still the Habs.
They're still not terrific defensively, so there's going to be growing pains. But just this guy, you want to watch him play.
Yeah.
Don't look at the numbers yet, because the numbers are going to be there. Don't look at the numbers yet. Watch him play.
To see a defenseman who can skate like he does, it is just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal to see, and I want to see more of it.
It's nasty. My Calder pick doesn't look so bad. I should have put some money on it, because now the odds are going down and down and
down. Who next?
That's all I had on Montreal. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention one last shit team.
Okay.
Buffalo reeks. and Darlene and Krebs are fighting at practice. Did you see this?
I didn't until you told me about it.
Did you go watch it?
Yeah.
Okay. So they didn't show what apparently Krebs high stick Darlene is the story. And then
Fucking
so we don't
stupid.
see that. But then Darlene goes and hip checks. It's a good hip check. It's a very nice hip check. He hip checks Krebs, but Krebs isn't the one to react. Darlene hip checks him and then goes and attacks him. I was like, isn't this guy the captain?
I don't know what the hell's going on in Buffalo. You are
I
losing.
do. They're the same dumpster fire as always.
You're losing every game. You seemingly can't put any sort of team cohesion together. You had a stud goalie last year who you are letting down game in, game out.
Calm down.
Again, love you, 6K. Please come to Toronto. I just don't see how this is going to result in anything of a positive year for Buffalo.
Just so you know, Luukkonen and Levi have started the same amount of games. They've allowed this same amount of goals. And Luukkonen doesn't have a win yet, and Levi does. So just let you know.
Don't listen to him, Luukkonen, okay?
Just let you know.
I don't know. It's a really disappointing, and I don't know why. I want them to be okay. I I do, and they have some talented guys. You have Cousins, you have Darlene, you have some relative offensive prowess, and yet you guys are fighting at practice.
That can go one of two ways. It's either gonna just tear the team apart, or you're gonna look back on it and be like, "Wow, that got the boys going."
Yeah,
and we got better from that, and we stuck together from that. Yeah, I just wanted to see what you thought about the fight. Do you think it's stupid? Like, are you like I kind of like this guy's the captain.
Okay.
If it was anyone else, I'd be kind of be like, okay.
If you have stuff to sort out, I don't have an issue with doing it on the ice. If this is just like you guys are frustrated, again, might be good to get it out. The defining kind of factor will be, do you come out better on the other side, or is this you guys are throwing tantrums
I
at
think
practice?
it's the latter.
And I don't like that, guys. So I don't know. I think it's not positive. Like, I don't know. You've seen stuff at Montreal practices before. You've seen stuff at Leafs practices and tryouts and stuff like that where spirits get hot, and I think it's natural for spirits to get hot when things aren't going well. You're frustrated, but it has to be a growing
You're
experience.
5 games into the season, you're fighting each other.
Yeah. This isn't competing for roster spots. This is, what the fuck are we doing?
This is an $11 million player,
and we're fighting.
Listen, I if Darlene got high sticked, don't think I didn't hear you just fart there.
I did just hey. I did.
Darlene. So Darlene gets high sticked by Krebs. Is the story? He lays the hip check. Why don't you just leave it at that?
Don't know why it has to be more.
Why do you have to go attack the guy after?
Don't know. Stupid decision.
Whatever. Buffalo's a dumpster fire. We knew that already.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I predicted Detroit to get in. I believe you predicted Montreal to get in over those other three teams.
Not looking so bad.
It's not looking horrible. I didn't put Boston in my notes. I don't particularly love what Boston's been doing so far. I don't really want to talk about them much.
It's a mix.
They're kind of okay.
Yeah.
Buffalo, Detroit, and Ottawa. We talk about these three teams every year. Are they going to make the next step? No, none of them seem to want to do that.
Buffalo, no. Ottawa, no. Detroit, probably not.
Detroit's the worst of the three right now. Detroit has one win.
Yeah. I like some. I don't know. I like some of the moves they made. I just
the Yzer plan is running out of time.
Stevie,
more so than the other two, honestly.
Stevie, give us some, and then they're still charging a fortune for tickets. Inside baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. Ottawa on paper should be a good team.
I'd like Giroux. I like Giroux. I love Jake Sanderson.
We know you love Jake Sanderson.
You have
Stutzla, you have Kachuk. Batherson,
Shabbat.
Norris. They should be good enough to at least be like pushing, and they don't.
And I don't
They
know
never
why.
do.
And Brady?
That's what I'm saying. Kachuk, like I don't know. I don't know. None of those three teams seem to really want it. So it's just going to keep being those same four
It's gonna
teams out
be
of the Atlantic every year.
it's gonna be a lot of the
Yeah.
same until something changes.
Montreal seems to be the one out of those four that wants it the most.
Seems to be
And
standing
I
out.
don't think they're there. I don't think they're quite ready yet. They're
No.
very young on D.
Yeah.
Got to give them a little bit more time.
Give them 2 years.
But they're they're just as far along as those other fucking teams. So
Yeah.
that's all I have on the team front. I want to touch on Jake Ottinger's extension.
Okay.
So it's the exact same deal as Swayman.
So what
Do
is
you
that?
think
Eight.
it's 8 times 8.25? So 68 years, 66 million. Um, do you think Ottinger probably could have asked for more?
Yeah.
Because Ottinger's been a full-time starter. Swayman has not.
And I think he's more proven.
He's more proven.
So then the question
Yeah.
becomes, why didn't he get more money?
Well, I think he probably wanted more team-friendly stuff because Dallas has a lot of guys to pay. They have a lot of good young
think
guys.
so too.
And no state tax.
That's not bad. Eh?
He's taking home more money.
Hey, we pay a fortune.
No state tax.
Pay a fortune in Ontario. Enough said. I agree.
No
I think he took a friendly deal. I think he's more than happy with the money.
That's still really good money for a goal.
And with
terrific money for a goal.
with how deep he went, absolutely take a little cut. Let the team be flexible.
I mean, I can't imagine he'd get much more if his full value is probably 9.
Yeah.
Like
so you could go 8.75.
Like he takes a little bit less. It's no state tax. He basically probably said, "Look, Swayman got this much. I've proven more than him. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Give it to me now. I get no state tax. I'm taking more than Swayman.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a chance to win the cup.
Power of relativity.
Let's do it.
What's the difference between 8.25 and 8.75?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. You're if you're making money in the millions, you're good.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah. I think it's a good deal for both sides.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Dallas gets a little. Andrew takes a little less for Dallas.
So they got a little bit more to work with.
Pay those guys that are coming through, right?
A little bit more to work with.
They still have a little bit of time, Dallas, because some of those guys are still on pretty early in their entry level. I'd imagine that Wyatt Johnson's got to be coming pretty soon, though.
I want to think Robertson's coming soon.
Robertson, I'm not sure. Probably a couple more years. I feel like he signed a pretty decent ticket pretty recently.
Okay.
Stankoven and Bork probably have a couple more years. But because they burned their first year, last year playing at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So they probably only have 2 more years, right? So they have a little bit of time still, but it's a team-friendly deal. Dallas keeps their number 1 goalie.
Everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy.
What's the loser here? The answer is
I don't. I think they started. They didn't start talking until this week, and it got done in a week. So
both parties are happy.
When you go to Boston and look at that,
the sour situation there. That's the difference, folks.
So we touched on in the preview show. We touched on it's going to be a great Calder race this year. We've already talked about Lane Hudson. Celebrini looked good on opening night. Unfortunately, he got hurt. It kind of sucks. I like him a lot. I think he's NHL ready.
Yep.
I can't really say much more than that.
Especially on that team.
I think Will Smith got healthy scratch tonight.
Did he really?
Yeah. The growing pains. He's young. You got to give him time, right?
You have some young guys who people are really hot on who are just showing they need a little bit more time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And then Philly struggled out of the gate. Michkov hasn't done much, but he did score 2 against Edmonton the other
He's done okay. Yeah.
He did score 2 against
Edmonton. I think he had an
assist
assist as well last game.
Did he? Yeah, so, I mean, I haven't watched any of Philly, so.
Who the fuck wants to watch Philly?
Yeah, I don't really know. I know he scored 2 against Edmonton, and then they blew the lead.
Yeah.
I think that was Edmonton's first win, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, we'll see. That's the Calder race there. Who else is out there? Gauthier hasn't really done much.
Not really.
Smith hasn't done much. Obviously, he got healthy scratch, so
yeah.
Celebrini's hurt. Michkov scored 2, but other than that, he hasn't really done much. So looking like it's Lane Hudson's award.
It's a Lane Hudson league so far.
Listen, I don't want to count out Stankoven, all right? Stankoven has the best situation here.
Yeah.
He has the best situation. He's been solid to start the year.
I still think Lane Hudson is he's so smooth.
Yep. But it's not about being smooth. It's about producing.
It's true.
Let's see what Stankoven's done so far here. I know he's been decent. 5 assists.
Pretty good.
That's pretty solid.
It's pretty solid.
Yep. It's been very high scoring everywhere.
7-8?
Yeah, 8 that Ottawa game the other day.
Holy smokes.
But just like every game in general seems to be.
Yeah.
Goaltending
5-2.
has been
4-2.
like Winnipeg beat San Jose 8-3 tonight.
Jeez.
You mentioned that 8-7. Seattle beat Philly 6-4 the other night. Pittsburgh beat Buffalo 6-5 in overtime. Anaheim beat Utah 5-4 in overtime. Boston beat Colorado 5-3. Seattle beat Nashville 7-3. The 8-7 overtime.
We don't need to bring up that loss.
Yeah. Utah won 6-5 in overtime against the Rangers. There goes on and on. Vegas beat Colorado 8-4 on opening night. Pittsburgh beat Detroit 6-3. Like, what the fuck is going on out there? Has everyone forgotten how to play D?
I think you have a lot of high-end offensive prowess. I think you have goalies just settling into the season.
Yeah.
I don't expect these types of high-scoring games to last very long. I think it's just it's exciting and it's fun to start the season with.
Yep.
Makes watching hockey fun.
Just thought it was interesting. So 2 Penguins legends.
Evgeny.
Geno Malkin scored his 500th goal on the same night that Sidney Crosby got his 1600th point. Well done to those guys. Malkin's buzzing out of the gate here.
Top point in the league?
Buzzing out of the gate.
Someone tried to sell high to me for Malkin.
Yeah.
I don't think it lasts, but it's nice to see. Good job for you, Evgeny.
Yep. So 1600 points for Sid. Obviously, the Malkin 500 goals is kind of a bigger story, but they showed something. I believe Penguins PR tweeted this graphic out. So Crosby is the 5th fastest player in NHL history to record 1600 points. Okay.
Okay.
The names aren't going to surprise you on this list. In the top 10, you got Howe, Francis, Messier, Sakic, Yzerman, Yager, Dion, Lemieux, and Gretzky. Okay. So let's put things into perspective here. It took Crosby 1,277 games to get to 1,600 points.
Okay.
Yzerman and Sakic were at around 1,300, both around the same, just a little more than Crosby.
Iconic players.
Messier too was kind of in the same realm. Yager took 3 less games, so he's right there. He's 3 behind Yager. Marcel Dion is in 3rd, so Marcel Dion very underrated. It took him just over 1,100 to get to 1,600 points. It's pretty impressive. Obviously, we know who the top 2 are because they're the top 2 in every statistical category in NHL history is Gretzky and Lemieux. Now, 1,600 points. So I threw the numbers out there. They're all around 1,300, 1,200 games to get 1,600 points. So that's like a point and a half a game, right? Lemieux, it took Lemieux 812 games, okay? So that's 2 points a game, pretty much, which is fucking wild. It took Gretzky less than 700 games to get to 1,600 points. It took Gretzky 667 games.
Wayne, come on. Come on the podcast. Let us just talk to the great.
I think you're getting ahead of yourself a little bit here.
We have Mountain Dew.
We need to just get the listeners outside of one of our family members before we can ask Wayne Gretzky to come on the podcast.
I buy your wine, Wayne. Gretzky is
it is good actually. I tried it one time. But Wayne, 1,600 points in 667 games. That is why nobody will ever touch you. No. I don't care what anyone says. McDavid can fuck off.
There is no LeBron James, Michael Jordan. There is only one Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. There will never be another Wayne Gretzky. It is the greatest to ever do it, and I firmly believe the greatest there ever will be.
Every time I see Gretzky holds so many fucking records that it's like impossible to know all of them.
Yep.
And every time I see a new one, and it's like the most you find some obscure things out there, but it's just so preposterous what he did.
Fewest touches to a goal from the center line.
Like, every time I hear a stat, I am just baffled.
Most ice cream sandwiches
And
eaten before a game with a hat trick.
Gretzky's the first guy to tell you stats are for losers, all right? But he could say that because who the fuck put up better stats than him?
Phenomenal, Wayne.
Also,
Phenomenal.
Here's the difference. Gretzky has cups.
Oh, Connor. I'm sorry.
That's all I had on that Crosby stuff. I think we all know from that first episode that we love Sid on here, all right? Sid's the fucking man.
He's proven it.
Sid's the fucking man.
Time in, time out.
So congrats to Sid and Gino.
Congratulations, guys.
The last thing I want to touch on the NHL.
Okay.
We had a goalie goal this week.
Yes, we did.
Philip Gustafson for the Minnesota Wild scored a goal.
Oh my word! You might get one of those a season
if you're lucky.
Maybe
if you're lucky. Did I hear right that was a power play goal?
No, seriously?
I feel like I heard that.
I didn't watch the clip. I only saw the headline. I could be
completely wrong. I saw the clip, but I don't remember it's being a power play goal. Let me see if I can find it here.
How would that have even happened?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Okay, we gotta watch the clip.
Philip Gustafson goal. Where's the scoreboard? Oh, it was the end of the game, and they were on a power play. So the other team pulled the goalie to make it 5-on-5. So it was a power play goal. And he just shot it. You know what?
Hey, way to contribute to the power play goal.
Power play goalie goal. So it was a power play goal, and I don't think that's the first time in NHL history that goalie scored a power play goal. I believe there's a couple occasions.
I love that.
There you go, goalie goal. We love a nice goalie goal.
That's such a unique situation.
I was a goalie, folks. So we love goalies. We love goalies here. All right. That's all I got for NHL. You got anything else for the NHL?
No, we touched on everything. This is a good kind of wrap up to the first 2 weeks. What we're seeing around the league, what we're seeing with Toronto specifically. It's fun. It's so nice that hockey's back.
It's nice to see. So what I did want to touch on outside of the NHL, I think they're ruling on it pretty soon.
Okay.
So the CHL NCAA rule.
Yes.
So they're saying it's been out a while now. So most of you, if you pay attention to hockey, you've probably heard about this.
Yeah.
But basically, it's saying before the rules were, if you even touched the ice for a practice or a tryout for a CHL team, you're no longer eligible to play in the NCAA. They're voting on that to change so that you will be able to do both. Funny how that is all of a sudden happening now that college hockey is starting to take over.
People are taking
the
notice.
CHL, right?
Even I hadn't taken in college hockey much. And then you're seeing some guys come out of here, and they are nasty.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot more Canadians that are going that route.
Yeah.
You've seen in the past couple of drafts. Yeah. Celebrini went that route. Owen Power went that route. Adam Fantilli went that route. Tons of guys. Yep, Fantilli played for Michigan. Go Blue. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the landscape because you have all this NIL stuff now. So you can just chuck money at guys. So basically now guys are going to get drafted. I struggle to see how this is going to work because outside of like the complete studs, most guys don't play in the CHL right away when they're 16, right?
No.
Outside of like freaks.
Real good players.
Outside of the freaks, right? So you get drafted to the CHL. Most likely you're not playing year one.
No. Say
you play in your 17-year-old year, and then the next year you've graduated high school and you're on the college.
Yep.
So why the fuck? I don't see it like for both sides. In terms of the CHL, you're going to lose your talent right away.
Yep.
Because you're just going to go to college after they play a year or two. And then on the NCAA side, the NCAA is taken over. Like, it's stronger than the CHL now.
You have some sick highlights coming out of the NCAA.
So why the fuck did they feel the need to do this?
I don't know. You're just kind of like, this is a decision that was made. College sports overall, the landscape shifting. I don't see the real kind of benefit to the CHL, but
Granted, like I think it'll help the players the most
yeah,
because it gets them an opportunity to play in the CHL earlier. Whereas if you want to play college right now, you can't play in the CHL, so you can't play at the highest level you can possibly play at before you go to college, right? Now you're playing the USHL, you'll play in the National Team Development Program if you're American, but it's not quite the same. The CHL is still the highest level for kids from 16 to 18
sure.
because you can't play college from 16 to 18. So, in that sense, I think it's good for the players because they're playing the highest possible level before they go to college, where they're playing against older players, and then they can go to
Boston
the NHL.
College, Michigan, the
Granted,
classics.
listen, NCAA is kind of taken over, but the CHL is still more. There's benefits to both, all right? College, you're playing against older players,
Yeah,
but the CHL, you have a full schedule. It's more of an NHL schedule. The college schedule is not as big, right? You're not playing anywhere
because
near.
they're student
They're
athletes.
student athletes, okay? The CHL, you're probably playing around 60 games. That's almost the NHL. You play 82 games.
82.
That's very comparable.
Yeah,
When you attack in the playoffs and
good
the Mem
ramp
Cup,
up. Good ramp up.
right? College is less games, but you're playing against older players. There's
So there's
benefits to both.
there's give and take.
There's give and take to both. It's just gonna be. It sucks for the USHL. It's gonna lose a lot of talent because of this if it goes through. It sucks for the lower end college guys who are gonna lose their roster spots, right? So who knows? Maybe Canadian college hockey benefits from this a little bit. They get the little like they kind of get the lower end NCAA guys are gonna go to Canadian college now.
Go Guelph Griffins.
Okay. You mentioned him last week, and I'm going to bring him up, but not because of hockey.
Okay.
Did you see something? So did you see this about Phil Kessel?
No.
I gotta find it.
Phil the Thrill is in the news?
He's in the news.
Phil. Come home.
Phil
Phil,
Kessel,
we'll give you a discount.
former NHL star and Toronto Maple Leafs favorite, Phil Kessel, has signed up as an ambassador for the World Poker Tour.
Phil, I'll be cheering for you.
So I don't know what that
WPT?
means.
Okay. I'm a bit of a poker player. Phil on the WPT, I can see not being able to read an absolute thing about this guy if he's playing live. I had no idea Phil played poker. This is just one more thing that I can watch for the Castle Storm, and I absolutely support it. I love it. I hope you're getting all the thrill out of it because you brought us so many thrills for so many years. Phil, we love you here.
So I'm reading here that he is playing.
Thank God,
He is
Phil.
playing.
You know, bluff big. I hope you get the nuts, and
Phil Kessel.
I hope
Is that his official retirement from hockey? The fact that he's joined the World Poker Tour.
Phil come back. Phil, we'd love to have you. Come be a brand ambassador for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I don't think Phil Kessel will work under Craig Berube, just so you know.
That might be based in fact.
I thought for sure you're the big Phil Kessel
I love Phil Kessel.
lackey here. I figured you would have heard that news. I don't know.
Oh, Phil, I hope you're happy, buddy. I hope you're doing everything that makes your life better, and I hope you win every pot you ever put in.
That's all I got on hockey. Any other notes outside of hockey?
Um, for today, this is pretty much it. We're headed to Akron, Ohio tomorrow for a wedding.
Fuck Ohio.
Fuck Ohio. dog shit place. Don't like it. Columbus seems okay.
Go
Everywhere
Blue.
else,
No, Columbus is the worst.
never mind. Go
Columbus
Blue.
is the worst part of Ohio. I don't want to fucking hear that out of that filthy mouth.
You heard it here first.
I'm not done yet, all right?
Keep going.
We're going to talk about Michigan and Ohio. Obviously, I think we've taken in the fact that I'm a Michigan fan, right? So I obviously hate Ohio
Big
State.
Michigan guy.
Okay, so obviously Michigan stinks this year. I'm talking football. Michigan stinks this year, so I can't really say shit about Ohio State. But you know, I am going into the state of Ohio tomorrow with my Michigan garb on.
They have guns there. We might get into trouble.
Okay,
We're gonna stop at a Wendy's and we're gonna get into a fist fight.
that's fine. I'm embracing it. But staying on the topic of football, we're gonna go pro football here.
Okay.
I'm a big Lions fan.
Yep.
Fuck the Dallas Cowboys, all right? That's all I gotta say. That's all I have to say. There's probably a lot of Cowboys fans on here because everyone, for some reason, loves the Cowboys.
Fuck the Cowboys.
Fuck the Cowboys, all right?
I know a guy from New York who's claiming to love the Cowboys.
Exactly. This is fucking bullshit.
Is it Dak Prescott?
Yep. Fucking loser. Gets paid that much money and he's that much of a bum. Go Lions.
Go Lions.
Go Leafs.
Go Leafs. And go puck yourself.